What's up, Internet? You're tuning in to episode 18 of the FlipScreen Games Podcast, a weekly video game podcast where two best buds from different nations come together to discuss the wide world of video games. I am your host, Pete and Bessie, joined as always by my very good friend and co-host, Mr. Stephen Radford.
Hello, hello.
Hello, Steve. Welcome back. Episode 18. Our podcast can officially legally drink in the United States. No, wait, that's wrong. We can
in the United Kingdom
smoke.
They can, but
yeah,
US,
we can drink in your country. That's what I meant. There we go.
You've got another 3 years to go, thank you.
Yeah. So 3 weeks. Just in time for Christmas. It'll be perfect. All right, so welcome back, folks, to another episode of the FlipScreen Games Podcast. We've got a good one for you this week. We're going to be talking a little bit about my Far Cry 6 impressions. We've got a sick round of questions from the question block this week. It is a grab bag episode, and if we have time, we'll be checking in on our predictions for 2021 because it's been a bit since we've done that. We've got a couple games that have come out since then, so we've got a couple things we can check in on there on that side of the fence. So it's going to be a good grab bag episode for you this time around, I think. But, of course, before we get into that, I've got to tell you for the first time that this episode of the FlipScreen Games Podcast is brought to you by our Patreon producers for the month of December. We've got a stacked list here. They are, of course, Andy Radford, Christian Oliveria, Christopher Valenz, Gabriel Hasselmeyer, a.k.a. Asobi, S. Milky Shake, or is it Smilky Shake?
I think it's Smilky Shake.
Smilky?
Yeah.
You know what? Shake, you write in and let us know. I know your name, but I'm not going to say it because you didn't write it here, so I don't want to out your name like that. So you tell us how to say it, and I'll get it right next time. Smilky/S Milky Shake. Wakahula and Zaid Ida, thank you all so much for your support over on patreon.com/FlipScreenGames. Y'all are the realest of the real. We appreciate your support, helping us keep these mics rolling. Thank you all so much. Y'all are the best. Speaking of the Patreon, that is, of course, the best way to show your support for the show and get access to a bunch of good perks and goodies, including One More Thing, our Patreon-exclusive podcast, which comes out every single Monday. And we talk, actually, you know what? Now it posts early on Sundays because we got some feedback from the community that you were getting the early access episodes of FlipScreen Games, and we were referencing things on One More Thing, but you couldn't watch it until the next day, which is insane. So I'm putting them out on Sunday now. So there you go. You know, it's a whole new perk. You get both of those podcasts. You get early access if you get up in the higher levels. You can get access to our Twitch archives, all kinds of good stuff over there. But speaking of One More Thing, this past week we talked about a little bit about Thanksgiving. We talked about some of my adventures going to concerts again. It was a good time. Great episode. Go check it out. And then speaking of the Twitch side of things, you can get our Twitch archive by backing us over on the Patreon. And we're there streaming every Wednesday and Thursday. Currently, on Wednesdays, we've got Steve's solo streams where he and generally he's been playing with Ray from the community and getting through Shenmue. I know that the last time that y'all streamed, I caught the beginning of it live, and you said that it looked like we maybe had 2 or 3 more episodes before the end of the game, so not too much longer before the end of Shenmue.
Yeah, I think the final is we've probably got 1 left to go now if we push it to like 2.5 hours. It depends how long those cutscenes go on, because they can chat a little bit in that game. They do go on a little bit, but we won't be playing that until the 22nd of December because Ray's not here next week, and I know he wants to join me, and then I'm away the week after that. So next week I'm gonna put up a Patreon poll to decide what I play on the Wednesday, which will be my next game that I play.
So you're gonna start the new game before you finish Shenmue?
Yeah,
that's crazy. I figured you'd do like a a filler one. Maybe you play some Forza or something.
Might do a filler. I don't think anyone wants to see Forza at this point. Maybe I'll play some Halo because that comes out soon.
That'd be good.
Yeah.
Well, either way, if you want to be able to vote, that's another one of those great things you can get over on the Patreon. So all kinds of cool perks and goodies you can get over there. But if you don't have any cash a toss our way, that's of course no problem. You can head over to FlipScreen.games. That's our website where you can get links to all the places that we are all over the web. Our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/FlipScreenGames, every Wednesday and Thursday. Come watch it live. You can also join our Discord, write in to the show, questions@FlipScreen.games. Come follow us on social media where we throw up a thread every week to ask for questions. Bunch of ways that you can get in touch and keep the conversation with us rolling after the show ends. And get involved. Come join the community. Come hang out with some of the folks that you hear writing into the show, or come chat with us and, get some, maybe even get some time playing games with us if you show up to the Twitch streams. So all kinds of good ways that you can be involved with the community we're building here. And, if you aren't a member of the Discord, it is a safe, inviting, inclusive place for you to come talk video games. So I hope you'll come be a part of what we're building. We'd love to have you. So, with that, let's hop into what we're playing this week. I have a new game to talk about that is an old game in terms of the conversation right now, right? It came out this year to divisive, I would say, acclaim, but generally, people liked it enough. Far Cry 6, right? Of course.
Same old, right?
Both of us, longtime fans of Far Cry. Far Cry 3, and to a lesser degree 4, I'd say. A couple of my favorite games in the genre for sure. Far Cry 5 was a little colder on that one, but
too close to home for you. That's what it is, Pete.
Yeah, well, among other things.
Just down the road, right?
Yeah, Montana, just down the road. But Far Cry 6, of course, made a bunch of headlines before it came out because it was returning to, a more like tropical environment, war-torn type country, the kind of more like the status quo that we've seen from Far Cry 3 and 4. And also, of course, Carlo Esposito, most notably from Breaking Bad, playing the main villain this time around. So that got a ton of attention as well. Finally
busy sending people emails and telling them that they're not playing enough.
I forgot about that. Ubisoft sending them the emails like, hey, you didn't finish Far Cry, guys. What's up? Yeah, I'm wondering when I'll get one of those. But I picked it up on Black Friday. I think I talked about that on Nintendo Noise. Yeah, I grabbed it on a great deal. I got it for like $35.
There was one more thing we spoke about it, or one more thing about Thanksgiving and the Black Friday deals. Got
it. Okay. I think I called it out at the end of the Cozy Games episode and said I would be talking about it this week as well.
Yeah,
so
possibly.
You've probably heard me say it somewhere at this point is my point. But I grabbed it on sale. It's a game that I definitely wanted to play. It was one that I had been looking forward to, when we were kind of talking about the big games of the year and what were the things that we were most excited about. And it ended up kind of just being a back burner game for me, just considering like it came out and it was getting a lot of 8s and 7s and some 9s, but it was definitely divisive in terms of kind of what the overall critical reception of it was. And by and large, the overall tone of the conversation around the game seemed to be that it was kind of like, yeah, it's more of the same. So if you like Far Cry, it's more Far Cry, and that's a good thing. And if you're sick of Far Cry or it's never spoken to you, this is not going to be the one to win you over. So now that I'm a few hours into it, and I'm not super deep into it, it's got a very similar structure, I think, to Far Cry 5, where you have an island that's kind of like the tutorial island, and it's like the first couple hours of the game and it doesn't feel like a tutorial. You're free and you're able to run around and do whatever you want to do, but you got to check a couple of boxes before you get brought back to kind of the main guerrilla base. And then you have, okay, there's this section of the map, there's this section of the map, and there's this section of the map. And on this one, this is the bad guy who's like the lieutenant of the main bad guy. And then here's
the mini bosses.
Yeah, and then here's the good guy who you're going to meet, who's going to help you out and become your companion character that you can summon and all that kind of stuff, right? Like it's got that same kind of beat that Far Cry 5 had.
So no Watchtowers? They haven't made a triumphant return to the series?
No. I mean, not that I've seen yet. I had a situation where I went to a radio tower, but like there was nothing to climb and like it was not. We didn't have that same kind of vibe. So Definitely.
Have they got anything like it to replace it? Because the prepper stashes kind of filled that hole for me of the puzzles and that was probably some of the best things in Far Cry 5 for me. You remember like the House of Horror prepper stash that you broke into and things like that. They did some really cool stuff with it. Are they still in the game?
I haven't encountered one yet, so it makes me feel like the answer is no, but it could just be that I haven't explored enough of the map yet because, like I said, I'm still pretty early in. Like, I've done a couple sessions. Like, I got through the whole tutorial section. I made it to they do the same thing where like you're talking and they're like, hey, here's the map and here are the places. If you want to hear what I think, you should go here first. So I was like, all right, I'll go to that area first and we'll start the game that way and I'll work my way down. And I'm in the first section of that part of the island and I have done like 2 or 3 story beats there trying to meet this faction and go and disrupt, the tobacco farms that I forget his name, but Giancarlo's character that like he has under his control.
The fake dictator of fake Cuba.
Yes, exactly. What's the name of it? Libertad is the name of the guerrilla group, but I can't remember the name of the island. Look it up for me.
Okay, go ahead. You carry on.
Okay. Yeah. So for where I'm at, what's it?
Yara,
thank you. Yes, because there's the true Yarans and the fake Yarans, and he loves to wax about that quite a bit.
And apparently Cuba is also in the game as well, so it's a made up thing that totally looks like Cuba, totally is Cuba.
Yeah,
but isn't Cuba.
But it's its own.
So don't be offended, Cubans.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like, I think that's one of the things that I there was definitely a lot of conversation about was kind of like some people, were kind of like, oh, this kind of like portrayal is dated, and some people have maybe felt offensive. I don't know. I'm in a weird spot with it where like it feels so. It's just so Far Cry. Like, it feels very much like Far Cry writing. So it's like there's a weirdness to it because I feel like Far Cry has increasingly gotten strange, right? Like in Far Cry 3 and 4, like the weirdness was like, oh, there's going to be a part of the game where you get drugged and you'll trip and like weird stuff happens or whatever. But like there wasn't like the level of wackiness that there is now, where like there's this special weapon thing that you get that's called a Supremo, and it's like this, it's basically a backpack that shoots rockets out of it, and there's like just wacky shit like that, and like I feel like Far Cry, maybe before Far Cry 5 arguably, but I feel like Far Cry 5 is where they really committed to it. I feel like they've kind of like leaned into jumping the shark. And being like...
Yes, they definitely did with 5. Like, you had Cheeseburger, the big bear that followed you around. You had that disc launcher gun. Mm-hmm. You could take drugs that would make you ridiculous, like One Punch Man. It was crazy. So I get what you're saying. But do you like that or not? Because I kind of feel the reason they do it with Far Cry is because it's their only creative outlet as a studio. Because everything else is Tom Clancy. And kind of is that serious. If you wanted that kind of serious game, the Ghost Recon games kind of ate Far Cry's lunch at this point. So if you want that, go play that. This is the goofy, checkboxy open world game. And we've got the serious ones, and if you want goofy, come play Far Cry.
Yeah, and I think I'm torn on it because I feel like Far Cry 3 and 4 had a better balance. Because, like, I think about, like, what's, like, the most iconic, memorable moment of Far Cry 3? It's the scene where you go and burn down the weed fields, and they're fucking blasting that Skrillex, Damian Marley song, and it's, like, very, like, over-the-top, like, goofy action movie kind of quality, but it's not, like, so crazy and goofy that it's, like, not believable, right? Like, it's very, like, oh, like, this is fun and wacky, but it still feels grounded. And I feel like the problem that I have with the kind of space where we are now, right? Because, like, I think about Far Cry 3, and there's, like, a really good argument to be made about how that's actually a good story, right? Because it's like the whole thing is like you're these, privileged white kids who are going on this like, international like, trip, and they're partying and all this stuff. And then they end up in this, like war-torn country. And the entire thing is about how you, the player, are playing this character who is representative of a large majority of the audience, of the fan base of Far Cry, right? Which is, privileged white people who want to go play a game that's about going to a foreign land and, killing a bunch of people. And then at the end of the game, it holds up a mirror to your face and is like, oh, you're a fucking monster, by the way. Like, you're not the good guy in this story. Like, you're somebody who's having fun killing people. Like, that's bad, right? And, like, it was interested in engaging in that and on some level. And it feels like this game kind of wants to have its cake and eat it too. Because, like, I go through that intro of the game and I get my weird rocket jetpack and I meet my first companion who is a crocodile named Guapo who will just straight up eat people. And it's, like, those things are fun in a vacuum. Like, when I'm playing the game and I'm like, oh, I need to blow up this truck, I want to use my rocket backpack. That's fun. Or like, oh, I need to kill this enemy, let me send my crocodile after him. That's fun. But I also feel like those things very much undercut the narrative that they're also trying to tell, which is like, there's a scene where after you get off the tutorial island where you're talking to the leader of the revolution, and she's talking about how she's accepted that her entire life will be this fight, and that's what she has to do if she wants to affect real change in her country, and that she is trying to become or facilitate an open, free election, but she knows that whoever gets elected will probably be assassinated within the first year that they take office. And they want to tease and talk about like these political beats and like the political kind of like reality of a game about a revolution and about overthrowing a fascist government. But it also wants to be the game where you have like a crocodile sidekick and a rocket backpack. And I feel like those two things are at odds. And I don't know where Far Cry goes from here in terms of like those framing devices for story. Because I feel like you're in a war-torn country with a fascist dictator and you need to overthrow his army and give the country back to the people is like the framing device of every Far Cry to some degree, but like they really like
the framing device of all of the ones I can think of. Like back to 4, for example, like AJ Gale goes to
spread his mother's ashes
in India. It's not really India.
Yeah.
And yeah, spreading his mother's ashes, finds Pagan Min there, and it's just like, well, I'm going to take you down because you've been nasty to all these people and kind of being oppressive. And then Far Cry 5 is you are literally a police officer going in to shut it down, and then you get caught up and somehow you don't like call for backup or anything. Who knows that story? And I think part of the reason why they went so wacky and crazy with Far Cry 5 and let's put cheeseburger and peaches and all of this weird stuff into the game.
Hell yeah.
Is because you can't believe the story, and it's just like, well, okay, I can't suspend my disbelief for this story. So if I can't suspend my disbelief for this story, then it doesn't really matter that I'm shooting this thing with discs, or I've got a mountain lion that is my companion that's not trying to eat me. And in the new game, there's like a dog with 2 missing legs, and he's wandering around and yapping at people. It's just like you kind of forgive that because you kind of just like, yeah, none of this makes any sense whatsoever, so it's fine. We'll just go with it.
Yeah, and I think where I'm at with it is I'd like them to pick a lane, because I think Far Cry 3 and 4 are, to me, like what the franchise is still chasing, right? Like it feels like we've entered a post-Ocarina of Time era where it was like Far Cry 3 was the game where they were like, this is what Far Cry could be. And then it's like, okay, cool, let's do that again. And then that worked with 4, right? Where it was like, okay, cool, like the novelty of this is worn off, but there's all these mechanical advancements and new things and new bells and whistles. So it still felt like a step forward. Whereas now it's like, gameplay wise, there's really not that much that's new aside from the Supremo, right? Which is like a very ridiculous jump the shark over the top thing because, well, what else can you add at this point, right? Like we've had.
Well, I think I would like to see the return of some of the stuff that they took out of the game. I loved the waypoint, like the towers, the watchtowers that you unlock, the radio towers to reveal part of the map, and so much so they inspired tons of other games. You look at Horizon Zero Dawns and Breath of the Wild. Like it was such a good aspect to the game. It just totally got removed. In 5, it also removed all of the hunting and the crafting stuff. Like you hunt, but for no real reason, just to make money. Whereas before it was, I need to build myself and craft myself a pouch because I'm in the middle of nowhere. There are no shops I can buy this stuff from.
Yeah.
And so it makes sense that I've got to kill a honey badger and craft that into a new ammo pouch. And I'm here surviving and fending for myself. But you move that into modern day America where everyone's got machine guns and cars aplenty. It doesn't really make sense. You can't do that. And I guess the same extends to fake Cuba somewhat.
Yeah, because it's like
got this modern stuff.
There's an issue with it where like they leaned into this other thing where it's like rather than like, oh, like you need to hunt a shark to get the shark skin to upgrade your bow pouch. Like I liked that a lot. I feel like that loop was super satisfying because it encouraged you to go and do side stuff because it would benefit your kit and it would benefit building out your character. There was a real sense of progression there. Now they have this thing where there's like workbenches are way more prevalent because they want you to be changing, like they want you to have a loadout with all these different like bullet types and stuff because now like enemies will be like, oh, like they're in the heavy body armor, right? So you need armor piercing rounds to take them out. But if they're not wearing body armor, there's like the ones that are more devastating to people that are like just you're hitting flesh, right? So it's like and then there's like incendiary rounds and poison rounds, and you can do all this customization and everything.
That's like straight out of Ghost Recon. I don't want any of that stuff. I don't want to have to think about any of that. You're coming into a Far Cry game, and they kind of set this with 5 realistically. Of you're coming here and you're just having goofy fun. You're setting things on fire. You're shooting. You look at the advertising and the marketing for Far Cry 6. None of it is you got to be strategic and pick which bullets are gonna best suit the scenario. It's go in, have fun, make shit blow up, and it kind of feels a little bit out of place. I'm saying this, I haven't played it. It might be great.
I mean, I agree with that though, because I think for me, like I'm just at a point where I'm like, I'm not gonna engage with this. Like I'm gonna have I have an item. I have one gun that has armor piercing rounds. I have one that doesn't, and then I've got some other ones, but like. I'm already just being like, I'm just going to use whatever weapon I feel like using, and like that's going to be what it is. And if it takes longer to kill somebody, then it takes longer to kill some. It's like whatever, right? Like I don't want that level of customization and all that kind of stuff. I would rather have it be that old crafting system. And it's funny because I don't usually like crafting that much in games unless it's like that, where it's not like, oh, collect hundreds of this resource so you're constantly crafting things. It's like, no, I like the Far Cry way where it would be like, okay, you have a bow and arrow, you have a quiver, right? There's 4 levels you can upgrade that. Go all around the map and find all these different animals that you got to find and do what you got to do.
And that was the thing. It was I've got to look for honey badgers or turkeys. Like I specifically need this one thing, and you go and you try and find it, and it was often hard to find. It was a challenge.
Yeah.
It gave you additional things to do. It was that extra angle. And I loved the prepper stashes in Far Cry 5. I've done a quick Google. They are removed. They're not in Far Cry 6. So that's disappointing to hear that they're gone as well. And I think that, again, was that puzzle angle. It takes you away from things. It's a different side thing. It's like when you just go and you're just like, I'm booting this up and I'm just going to reset the outposts, because that was a thing you could do from Far Cry 4 onwards, and I'm just gonna go and do the outposts again because they're good fun to just find a vantage point, take out all of the alarms with a sniper rifle, and go in and liberate it completely undetected.
Yep. Yeah, and I always really enjoyed that, and I feel like that's still in the game. There's like some new things where there's like checkpoints that you can also take out, and they're like kind of like mini bases. It's like that's kind of interesting. It like frees up roads in areas because the map's bigger. The map's huge. maybe even too big. We'll see how I feel about that later. But yeah, I think something that I feel like I miss about Far Cry 3 and 4 is twofold, actually. I feel like the characters in this game, I feel like are not leaving a good impression on me. Where, like, I think back to, like Far Cry 4, for example. I don't really remember the characters' names very well, but, like, I remember, like, in both games, there was, like, the DJ who was, like, it was, like, I think his name was Ravi in 4, and it was, like, Radio Free Ravi.
Radio Free Karat.
Yeah, and, like, when you'd free the tower, the radio station would change, and like...
And you don't get invested with the radio station when there ain't no towers to hail the radio anymore. Like,
yeah, well,
it completely removed that in
there's
5. And 5, it told a story in 5 of war with China and atom bombs and this, that, and the other, which turned out to be the whole fucking story of Far Cry 5. And the only way you got it was by reading newspapers and listening to the radio. And you had no incentive to listen to the radio because they wasn't telling you anything about what was happening in the game right now like it used to in 4 and previous games.
From what I've seen, there's no radio personality in this game. There's 2 radio stations, and one plays, like, classic, like, Latin music, and one plays, like, club, like, modern stuff. So that's not great. Like, that removes personality from the world. And, like, there's like a leader of the group, and, like, she's cool enough, I guess, but, like, again, she's very serious, and she feels kind of out of place. And then she has this, like, mentor character who's this, like kind of legendary guerrilla fighter, and he's an inventor, and he builds all these crazy fucking weapons and stuff, and he's the one who built the backpack and trained the alligator, and he's, like, a very wacky, crazy character, and it's like, okay, cool, like, he's fun or whatever, I guess, but, like, I don't, like, buy either of them because they don't make sense in each other's world. Whereas, like, there was that conflict in 4, right, where there was, like, the 2 different leaders of the resistance group, and they had these different ideologies, and you had to side with one or the other, and, and similarly in Far Cry 3, right, like, there's that wacky secret agent guy that you hook up with and everything, and he's weird and kind of, like, out there, but, like, not cartoonishly over the top all the way, and the whole thing was about, like, going and saving your friends, and then you have this big moral dilemma and all that, and I just feel like, I don't know, I feel like the disparate parts of the story are not quite lining up for me yet, but, and that's the thing, right, like, I've pointed out a lot of things here so far that I've been like, I don't love this, I don't love that, this is a change that's maybe not working for me. That said, I really, really am enjoying the game. Because, like, at the end
of the loop, right? It's the Far Cry loop.
The Far Cry loop is still fucking satisfying. And it's like, I don't really care if the story's not good or not interesting, because,
like, my entire view on, say, a Diablo, it's like, I'm not here for the story. I don't really care as much as I'm invested in the lore of Diablo because I've been playing it since I was a kid. I've been playing it since 1997.
Yeah.
And as much as I'm invested in that, you're playing it to pick up the loot and go round and round in circles. In Far Cry, you're doing it to check boxes and take down the outposts. That's really the main pull, is like outposts, get better guns, get the goofy companions.
But that said,
and repeat.
I didn't used to feel that way about it. And that's something that I don't know how to reconcile. Because, like, I am still enjoying Far Cry 6. I'm sure I will beat it because the loop is super satisfying. And I really love the gunplay in Far Cry. I like the way that it feels, right? Like, it's just a fun game to play. But, like, I remember how into 3 I felt when I was playing it for the first time, and, like, really feeling like I was this, like, Rambo figure where I was alone in the jungle and I was trying to, fight tooth and nail and, like, cobble together these resources, and it was really, like, visceral and it felt more intimate and, like, more like I could invest in the role playing of the narrative, even if the narrative wasn't. It's not The Last of Us, right? Like, it's not this incredible, emotionally moving story, but it was, like, it was good enough, and strong enough that it was like it felt more than the sum of its parts. And I feel like there's so many parts now with Far Cry that like they're getting in each other's way because there's friction between them, because the self-serious story about a revolution and this evil dictator and his son and, you know, all this stuff does not mesh with rocket backpacks and dogs and wheelie carts and all those other things that might be fun, but like, what are we doing? Like, what are we trying to achieve here, right? Like, which is it? And there's some other things, like in terms of like there being parts of the map that like, I don't know, feel like this is very much under control and this part's a little more open and stuff like that. Like Far Cry 5 had a really big problem, I think, with the enemy AI, where it would be like if you stood still, they would just keep coming, right? And it was like you could not go anywhere without being overrun by soldiers. And it was like every fucking 5 minutes a car would pull up on you and you'd just be standing there fighting just so you could sit for a fucking second. And like that didn't feel good. It was like way too much. And I feel like now I'm in a place where I'm like, I feel like I'm going long stretches without seeing people to fight, or like I'm not getting that same thing where I'm like, okay, I'm going to sneak up on this base and try to go in all stealthily, and then a fucking tiger comes out of nowhere and attacks me. Like,
yeah, and I think that's the thing. Like Far Cry 4 had that good balance. Like, yeah, the map was bigger than Far Cry 3, but you would go and you'd be like, oh shit, there's a snake there. Oh, I'm being attacked by a bear. Oh, there's a honey badger. You know, it was always something coming at you. And it sounds like maybe they've pulled that back a little bit, or maybe the world just feels a little bit too empty because the map is too vast.
I will say though, it's also possible that like I've mostly experienced the tutorial area and the first low level area. So like, you know, there's another part of the game that they've already told me about where it's like, oh, they're hiding up in the highest mountains in the country. So like maybe when I'm in that area, it'll be more wild, and in some of the city areas, it'll be more densely populated and stuff. But like, they also encourage you multiple times to be like, hey, you don't have to fight everybody you see. Like if you walk around with your gun sheath, nobody will think that you're a guerrilla fighter. Whereas like, that was never an option before, right? Like it was always like you see somebody,
I don't think you couldn't sheath your gun. It was always in your hand, and when you approached an ally, you would like duck your gun down. Yeah. So it was like pointed down, so you couldn't point it at them.
But now it'll be like if I'm going down a road, right, and I have my gun out, there will be somebody and they'll be like, hey, like put your weapon away and like move along. And if you don't respond, they'll attack you. Or if you have your gun out, they'll attack you if you get too close, you know? Or if they see you, like, shoot a gun or whatever, right? They'll go after you. But, like, I don't know. It's interesting because I've been warned that if I kill soldiers, he's going to send stronger soldiers after me. So maybe it's also that I'm not a high enough level and I haven't made enough trouble to be, like, on their radar. But, like, later in the game, they'll be like, we know Danny. We got to kill Danny because, you know, they did this and that and this and that. So, you know, there are things here at play that I might not feel the same way about 10 more hours into the game versus my first blush with it. But by and large, I would say, like, I'm having an enjoyable experience. Like, it's pulled my attention away from Pokemon and Halo, which I'm obsessed with both of those as, you know, franchises. So, the fact that
Deathloop, yeah,
even that, right? Yeah. So like,
yeah,
there's something here, right? Like,
do you know why I think it is? I think it's the junk food of video games.
It is.
It's that I'm not really massively enjoying this. It doesn't taste great, but there's something about it. You can't stop shoving those fries down your throat because they taste so good in the moment. But then afterwards, you're left thinking, why did I eat that? It was so unfulfilling. It was set like I'm still hungry.
From a story perspective, I would agree, but from a gameplay perspective, like, I don't know, man. Like they get that the Far Cry gameplay loop is deeply satisfying.
Yeah, but okay, right. So I think the analogy still works.
It does.
It's bad for you. It's junk food. It's not nutritious for you. There's nothing. There's no real substance there, but it's still good. You still enjoy it.
Yeah. And I think if you're a Far Cry fan, like, you will, you know.
Do you know what I've always wished they let you do? is side with the enemy. Like I really wish in one of these they make it so it's not so black and white of bad guy, good guy. And I hope that one day they kind of do the Skyrim thing where there are good and bad to both sides, and
Sure.
you kind of come in and you're the one there that's picking and leading the game in whichever direction you want to go. And maybe you have to make a choice at certain times to do I commit genocide? But this is I see this is good for the people, or I'm getting rid of the kind of the opposition, like the guerrilla people, they're bad. I don't like what they stand for. So I would like to see them do something like that. It always reminds me of a game. Did you ever play the game Mercenaries from Pandemic Studios way
No.
back in the day? It was such a good game. Like you were this like mercenary for hire, and you could work for North Korea, the UN, or like the Allies. There was like a bunch of people you could work for, and you could try and stay neutral and work for everyone,
Sure.
but ultimately that wouldn't work, and you would have to like pick a side and then go with them. And like you work for North Korea, and they might pay you a little bit more, but they're arguably the worst people, and so you had kind of to make that moral choice.
A series that have enjoyed quite a bit, that has a similar kind of thing is like Tropico, where it's like you play the dictator of like a faux Cuba, and like the whole thing is like you're El Presidente and you can do whatever you want, and like what do you do with that power, right? Like, do you want to make yourself like a center of like, like tourism? Do you want to be a democratic society and hold elections? Do you want to be a straight dictator? Do you want to exploit your natural resources? Do you want to defend the natural resources? Like, I feel like there could be a cool thing to do there where you maybe create some kind of interplay where like, it's more about like two warring factions rather than like bad guys, good guys, right? Or whatever.
And think about the like, level of replayability you've got there, and you want to go back in and potentially see the different routes and
Yeah.
the different sides of things at any one given time. Because I think a lot of the game could remain the same. You're
Yeah.
just fighting
I think
enemies from this side or enemies from this side.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of like where I'm looking at this. Like I'm feeling like aside from the innovations that they've made that I'm not caring for so far, it really feels like this game is them trying to do like Far Cry 4 again, where it's like, okay, like let's take that formula and iterate it for the next gen, right? And like make like a bigger, better, bigger, badder, prettier game. And they checked all those boxes, but it also feels like Far Cry like kind of needs to figure out what else it can do. Otherwise, I think that the critiques that were levied at this game are just going to keep happening because, they're kind of just doing the same thing again, and if you like that.
Sometimes does that matter though, because it sells games anyway, Call of Duty does the same thing every time. FIFA does the same thing every time. They still sell a boatload of copies, and I bet Ubisoft has sold an absolute shit ton of Far Cry 6.
Yeah, and fair enough, and maybe that's good enough, but I also don't think that works forever. Like, we point to Call of Duty, there's a lot of things you can say about Call of Duty, and the parent company that is behind them, but the 3 studio structure that they have established there, where it's like, okay, there's going to be the old school military shooter. We'll have the futuristic one. We'll have this one. Like, they are still different. And, like, enough so that people, like your brother said in a stream where it was like, oh, like Call of Duty Modern Warfare is like my favorite game of all time. The best game ever made. Like, a lot of fans feel that way. And, like, I don't know. It's weird.
Doc agreed with him, which was crazy to me.
What's that?
Doc agreed with him. It was one of the best.
People love that fucking game, and that's the thing is like I look at like Halo Infinite, and like Halo Infinite is hitting right now because it's very much tapping into the core and the legacy of Halo and all those things, and it's like,
but I think it's that, but it's also so different at the same time.
Yes,
it's added to it,
and that's
and you look at the campaign stuff and the campaign previews that we've had come from people.
Yeah.
it seems very, very different
And
to
like
what they originally showed and what they originally planned for that game.
you can say the same thing about like Breath of the Wild, right? Where like the whole thought behind that game was, well, all right, let's boil it down and like what are the core elements of Zelda? Let's go back and look at the original Zelda and like how can we take those things and do something new? And like I don't think that like we've done all we can do with Far Cry, but I feel like it's starting to hit a point of diminishing returns where it's like, yeah, we're doing the same thing over, but we're iterating on it in ways that are not interesting or valuable, and sometimes are to the detriment of the formula. So I don't know. I'm interested to see how I feel about it when all said and done, because I am very much enjoying it, but I think that your video game junk food analogy is not a bad one. So, I don't know. But I think we've talked about enough for today. So let's jump into the question block. We got a bunch of questions from the community, so let's get into a couple of these. The first one comes from Ray from the community. He wrote in and said, "Why?"
Yeah, I know. I said to Ray, why? Well, the answer to why was because I asked so nicely. But Ray's in my very good books because he did me an amazing Christmas gift of the best piece of artwork of my face I've ever seen. So I'm very, very happy and appreciative.
So he can have that one.
You can have that why, yeah, even though it's not in good spirits, but I'll let him have it.
All right, this next one comes from Affy Lockhart, one of our Patreon supporters, who wrote in and said, "Given that we are at the start of December, how is the hype for the Halo Infinite campaign? I can't wait. I just want to grapple everything." Yeah,
fucking
that game's going to be out
as fuck. Yeah.
a week from now, which is fucking wild.
When is it out?
It's the 8th.
So it'll be out this week then.
Yeah.
As of time of recording, right?
Yeah, I'm in a weird place with it because I'm interested in it, but I wouldn't say that I'm hype because I want to play the campaign, but like if I don't like it or don't care about it, I also don't care. Because, like, I love the multiplayer.
You've got the best bit, yeah.
And that's the part I care. That's the part I've always cared about the most. Not always. The first Halo was all about the campaign for me. But, I don't know. Like, if the campaign fucking slaps, then, like, yeah, like, let's go.
And it looks like it does. It really looks like it does from what we've seen from the press that have got their hands on it. I'm looking forward to trying it. I really am.
Yeah.
This will be I'm going to pre-download it this weekend, hopefully. I love that you can do that as well, that you can just pre-download, so come midnight, you can just start playing the game.
Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to it, but I also feel like there's no pressure on it, because if it sucks, I don't care.
Yeah. The one end to Game Pass this year, like, did you see the lineup that they had this month? We've obviously just had Forza come out, which was like a huge game.
Yeah.
I think it was 15 million players or something at the last check. It was crazy. We've got Halo, and then on top of that, they've added like another Final Fantasy game to the mix. We've got Stardew Valley going on there, Among Us going on there.
Crazy.
There's a ton of
There's just so much
games. Yeah,
like some of the hottest games.
and
And some old favorites.
Stardew Valley at this point, it's a good time to get into it because it looks like the new update is the latest patch is teasing some new content that's coming soon, which would be really cool.
Always a good game to jump into around this time of year too, right? Like as the year's winding down. Usually there's not that many releases, but that's I guess not the case this year. So you know what? This next one we have a little patented 3-question formula from Mr. Asobi, one of our Patreon producers, who wrote in and said, number 1, will you be watching the Game Awards live? Live stream reaction, maybe? Eyeball emoji.
We absolutely will be. We are, because I haven't told you, I don't think, official co-stream partners.
I saw it on the Discord. You did not
Awards.
tell me. You just did it. So I didn't even know. And I was like, oh, shit, I hope I'm not busy that night. And I was like, oh, no, okay, I should be okay. So yeah.
It was on the Thursday anyway, and we were going to be streaming at this time anyway, so I figured, why not, even if we don't do the whole thing. We'll at least watch along for a little bit, so yeah, come watch the game.
Oh, we're going to watch the whole thing, Steve. You're staying up.
I'm planning on taking the Friday off.
You better.
So
we're staying up. We're watching the whole damn kit and caboodle.
I might have to pull Macaulay in to watch it with us then, because I think, at least for a little bit, they'll feel a little bit left out.
Yeah, I'll see if maybe Sarah wants to sit in too. All right, so number 2, what games are you planning to play during the holidays? I feel like I said this last year, but I already buy my one. Oh, no, okay. I feel like I've said this last year already, but my one Christmas tradition in terms of games is Killing Floor. That game has a Christmas theme map, so I install it, boot it up, and play that every year on Christmas. Besides that, I usually just get something long that I've been meaning to play and sink my teeth into it. I'm usually the latter. It's either I get a game for Christmas that I've been waiting to play, or I have games on my backlog and I take advantage of the fact that the world gets quiet for like a week or two and try to close out some of the games I've already started. That is 100% what I'm going to be doing, because right now I've still got Mass Effect 3 to finish. I've still got Deathloop. I'm playing Far Cry. I've got Pokemon. Halo's out next week. I got a lot of games to play.
Yeah, and I'm getting a PS5 for Christmas, so I'm hoping to dig into a bunch of the exclusives that are coming on there. But having said
Ratchet, right?
that, I've got definitely Ratchet. That's the one game I know I'm getting. But on top of but like I don't know how I'm gonna play it, because I've got a week off work, and for most of that week I'm not even at home.
Bring your PlayStation
I'm
with
gonna.
you.
I'm not going to take my PlayStation with me. I'll just play Dad's. If I wanted to play it, I'll just log in on my account.
There you go. That'll work. Yeah, so I'm trying to clean up that backlog as much as I can, so I can go into 2022 fresh, because there's going to be a lot of games in the early part of that year.
Yeah, I know you've got Elden Ring that I know you're really excited about to dig into.
Can't wait for that one, yeah. God, you know me, love Souls games. Number 3, is it just me, or did devs stop making a lot of Christmas DLCs and content? I feel like back in 2012 or so, you'd have Christmas DLC for every other game. You know, I feel like I don't necessarily remember that, but I feel like that as a thing has probably shifted just because of the way that DLC has changed. Like, I feel like back in like the kind of like, 2010 to 2015 range, when DLC was like fairly new, right? We had expansion packs for PC games, but DLC on consoles was kind of new fare, and you had a lot of like piecemeal content where it would be like, download this expansion, or get the horse armor, or get the Christmas level, or get this thing. And it felt like that was like a pipeline that a lot of devs committed to, whereas I feel like now you get more in the like, they have planned free content updates, they have a season pass. If it's like a multiplayer game, you'll get that seasonal stuff. So I don't know, like I feel like it's like in games where seasonal content feels appropriate, you still get that stuff. It's just in like quote unquote regular games, you don't get as much of that stuff anymore. But I also think that kind of game is less common, right? Like, we still get a lot of single player games, but back in the time period that you're describing, 2012, there were a lot less multiplayer games than there are today. Like, multiplayer is a much bigger part of multiplayer, free to play specifically, is a much bigger part of the landscape than it used to be. So I think that's probably why you're feeling that difference.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't remember any specific Christmas DLC. Write in and let us know some, because I'd love to talk about some more of those and maybe have a look back and see.
There could be a good Christmas episode.
Yeah. I genuinely, I can't think of any off the top of my head.
Not DLC.
All of the stuff No, like I can think of stuff already in games. Like, I'm playing Shenmue at the moment. Every time I walk down the high street, there's a fucking Santa Claus with Christmas lights up and stuff, because I'm playing it in December. And obviously Animal Crossing had Christmas stuff in it from the get-go. And McCall is playing Animal Crossing like religiously every day at the moment. Gets so annoyed every time those sleigh bells go off when it's snowing. Just absolutely, it's so hilarious.
They're
it's
cute.
Just like,
why?
Those fucking sleigh bells.
All right, this next one comes from Andy Radford, who wrote in and said, watch the gift guide in last episode, which was good, but what things do you not want as a gift? Those Mario and Luigi socks, a PlayStation mug? Grandma doesn't understand gaming, so may be tempted to buy you some Xbox earrings. Yo,
I wouldn't mind an Xbox earring.
I'd wear a fucking Xbox earring, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Steve, you know what that reminds me of? I bought an Xbox shirt. I have an Xbox shirt and an Xbox sweatshirt coming now. So get fucked. I'm not a fanboy.
Looking forward to it. You can wear that when we talk about PlayStation. Then
Yes,
it's
that'll be
checks and
perfect.
balances, you know.
Yeah.
Offsets it.
Yeah, I got to bring balance to the force. What things do you not want as a gift?
Certain video games, it's when they go and they get something that they see and they see the box, right? Grandma goes and buys you Troll and I because she's like, oh, I know they've got a Nintendo and this looks like a good game. It's family friendly. There's none of that violence and running over prostitutes. I don't want them to play that. But Troll and I looks okay.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like tough because it's like I think of this stuff that I don't want, and like I've never really gotten it because like when I was a kid, I made a list of games that I wanted and gave it to my mom or my dad, and then they distributed it to the relatives. So it would be like
That's smart.
I got
That's
whatever
smart.
games I wanted. Nobody was just going and buying me a video game because Pete likes video games. It was like, oh, Pete, I need to get him something. He wants Kirby Nightmare in Dreamland, so that's what he's going to get from me, right? Or he wants Spyro the Dragon 2, Ripto's Rage, so that's what he's going to get, you know? And, like, when it comes to, like, tchotchke stuff, you know, like Andy's saying here, like socks or a mug or whatever, like, I've gotten plenty of those things, and, like, there are versions of those I don't want, but I feel like people generally know me well enough to know what I want. So like my one of my closest friends, Sam, bought me like a Game Boy throw blanket like a couple years ago. That was like a really nice gift. I love the Game Boy, right? So she knew that I would appreciate that, right? And like I have like a Life is Strange mug that Sarah bought me that I love, and it's like awesome. It's such a great one. So it's like I'm sure there are things in those categories that I wouldn't really want, and if I receive them and be like, oh, what am I gonna fucking do with this, you know?
You know, I think if it's knockoff stuff where you can tell it's not like legit or licensed or whatever. And
If it's just like generic
crappy.
like gamer stuff, yeah, I don't want that. Like I hate that stuff. Where it's like it's a controller, but it's like a nondescript controller, right? Like
yes,
fuck that.
Yeah. It looks like a PlayStation controller, but there's one stick up where the D-pad would be, and they like swap some things around, and it's got weird, goofy symbols. I'm not into any of that.
And I've gotten stuff like that before, but like not necessarily related to gaming. Like I know I've joked with you, I think about this before, where like my family knows that I like comic books, so they'll buy me like anything that has like a superhero, right? And it's like I've always been more of a Marvel guy, right? Like Spider-Man's my favorite superhero. I've always liked the Marvel characters more. But they buy me DC shit all the time. Like I had like a Justice League shirt that they bought me, and like I like the Justice League fine, but like, you know, I'm more of an Avengers guy, right? Like, or like I have like socks they got me that are like Superman socks, and it's like, okay, that's cool, like that's fine, but you know, I would have gone out of my way to get Superman socks, you know. So I'm
only ever buying you DC stuff from now on. That's it.
That's fine.
It's at the end of time. That's all you're getting is Batman.
That's fine. Yeah, I like Batman. So this next one comes from Trendy Brendy. Oh, I'm sorry, and I should have said Andy Bradford, one of our Patreon producers. And then this one comes from Trendy Brendy, another one of our Patreon supporters, who wrote in and said, any big gaming memories in December? I remember watching the TGAs while in line at GameStop waiting for Smash Ultimate to come out and being absolutely floored by Joker from Persona 5 joining Smash DLC with a ton of strangers. I then went to multiple Smash parties in one long night. I mean, also Christmas, but maybe you guys want to save those memories for the first Christmas special of the FlipScreen / Nintendo Noise.
I think we should save the Christmas stuff because I want to go over that with Chewy as well at some point. I know we've spoken about some Christmas gaming memories before, but that wasn't on these podcasts. But December stuff,
let me see when this game came out.
It's difficult. It's really tough. But I would say the Game Awards stuff has always been, like, since we've been doing this, has always been something that we've tuned into, which was fun. I remember the year, was it last year or the year before? It must have been the year before where all three of them came out. You had Reggie, and you had
Phil Spencer,
Phil,
and
you had Sean from PlayStation, and they were all there, and they were like, look, let's just cut it with the console wars bullshit. We're all here.
They were like, yeah, like gaming. Right? We all love gaming. It's cool, guys. Like, yeah. That was a really cool moment.
I liked that, and the the Joseph Fares moment of like
fuck the Oscars.
It was so good. It's gonna be
Fucking
the best
A, man.
Game Awards thing because you just said, Jeff, like I have no idea what to do in this situation. Do I like take the microphone off him?
Oh
Do
my
I like
God.
cut to advert?
I
Like
love
what do we
Joseph
do
Fares, man. He's a fucking cartoon character. I love that guy. He's an absolute madman. What an absolute gem of a person. Oh man. Yeah, I feel like all the ones that are coming to mind from me are in the winter, but not December, or are Christmas. So I guess I'll abstain from this one for now, and we'll swing back for this for when we get a little closer to Christmas.
That's fair.
Cool.
Yeah, I think we'll come back to it for Christmas then.
All right, sounds good. So we said we were going to check in our predictions. We're running a little long here, but I think we got time to do it. What do you think?
Yeah, we've got time to do it. There are a fair few more games than you thought, though. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games to get through on our Metacritic predictions. But that's fine.
There's a couple games on this that... Oh, okay, these are the ones that I see. What is it, yellow are the ones that you got right?
No, yellow are the ones that we were going to do last time we did the predictions list, but we never got around to doing the predictions list last month because we had more things come up.
Got it,
So
okay.
since then, we've also got the House of Ashes, Guardians of the Galaxy, Age of Empires 4, Shin Megami Tensei 5, and Pokemon.
So a lot of games came out. Okay, all right. So let's check in. We'll do this real quick. So on our main list of 2021 predictions, just the predictions that we did at the end of last year over on the Potscast, I don't think we have any updates, right? So
no, everything's the same there. So we're still standing that I'm currently winning those predictions.
But only by what?
1.
By 1?
Yeah. I think you can tie me, but you can't win at this point. Because your risky pick didn't come true.
No. Oh, but I only have... Okay, no. So this one should be green. You're trying to fuck with me. Okay. All right.
You're in control of this, not me.
I don't know why it was marked red then. Oh, yeah, no, you commented it, and...
but you've still got 3, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, so you're not getting a full reveal of Breath of the Wild 2. That can go red. That can
go red. That can go red. Well, the Game Awards, though.
Yeah, out.
The Game Awards.
Maybe, but I don't think so. You can keep it if you
want.
I'll
leave it for now. I'll leave it for now. I'll leave it for now. No limited release from Nintendo this year, though, right?
No, didn't have one this year. Nothing like... we thought it was going to be a Zelda one, right?
Or like Fire Emblem.
Like the Mario thing. Didn't happen.
Yeah.
We didn't get that.
I don't think that one's happening.
I might get the AAA ports, but I don't think so either. I think we've had a fair few this year, but you're going to have to add those up.
So for right now, to give you a reminder, because we're talking around the score and everything, but haven't read them. So mine right now, my 10 were Switch Pro is coming in 2021. That was wrong. Grezzo will release another Zelda remake in honor of the 35th anniversary. That was wrong. Number 3, 2021 will see the fewest AAA third-party ports of any year on the Switch. I still have to tally that one up for the end of the year episode, so we'll see how that one turns out. Number 4, I got right. Pokemon's 25th anniversary will be commemorated by the re-release of a classic game. Number 5, Nintendo will continue to fail to properly address Joy-Con drift. Number 6, full reveal of Breath of the Wild 2. Haven't gotten that one yet, but we'll hold out for the Game Awards. 7, Nintendo will remain quiet in Q1 of 2021 while they get plans in place. That was wrong. Number 8, Pokemon will tease the next proper Pokemon game but not release it. That was, of course, Arceus Legends. Number 9, Nintendo will release another limited release. Don't think that's happening. And then my risky pick, which was for 2 points, was that Nintendo will release a N64 Classic for the 25th anniversary of the console.
Definitely did not happen.
That has also not happened. So now let's go through yours. I'm also marking your number 10 as red because that ain't happening.
What's my number 10? It's coming at the Game Awards.
We'll see.
It is.
All right, so read through yours.
So on mine, there'll be another 2D Zelda game released in 2021, which there was not. Metroid Prime 4 will not be released in 2021. It was not. Metroid will announce a new IP. They did.
Nintendo
We
will
got
announce a new IP.
Yeah, Nintendo. We got Game Builder's Garage. You can tell I'm tired. Two new Switch consoles will be revealed in 2021. They only revealed one, annoyingly. Breath of the Wild 2 will be released in the second half of 2021. Definitely not.
You missed number
GTA
5. That's
5.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, Splatoon 3 will be announced. It was.
You got that one.
It did happen. Breath of the Wild 2 will be released in the second half of 2021. Nope. GTA 5 ported. No. We won't hear any more about Bayonetta 3. No. We got a release date and everything. And then a new Switch Online game like Tetris 99 will be released. We did get that. We got Pac-Man. And then my risky pick, Game Pass, will come to Nintendo Switch.
It's not happening.
Probably not happening.
I think you've got this one in the bag, but I'm holding out hope.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I think you could get it. I mean, we could draw, and then I don't know what happens. I guess we do it based on the Metacritic predictions. It's like the tiebreaker.
I feel like, we could do it that way. I feel like those were separate predictions, so I feel like if we tie, we just tie, and that's it,
Yeah.
And we come up with a better plan for how predictions work for next year.
That is totally fair.
All right, so let's get into the Metacritic stuff. So if you've missed this, if you're a new listener, another set of predictions that we did were a couple months ago, we went and did predictions for how we thought the critical reception of pretty much every game that was slated for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
So we've gotten a few so far, and we've got a couple to check in on today. Only one more game left on our list now to release. When does Dying Light 2 come out? Did that get pushed too?
I think it might be out actually.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Oh god, maybe it is.
7th of December. So as of recording, it's not out, but as of you listening to this,
it got delayed to 2022.
Oh.
So there we go. So actually, this is the end of this.
This is it.
Oh my god. I didn't think this was going to be so dramatic. We're going to have a winner today. Oh boy. All right. Well, here's what I'll do. Steve, I'll read through the ones that we've already done. We'll tally the score, and you can pull up the scores for the new ones.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm working on the scores, so yeah, you carry on.
All right. So what we've got, the first one was Road 96. I got that correct. Steve guessed 82. I guessed 75. The real answer was 77. I was the closest without going over. We are playing by Price is Right rules, so I got the point. Rather than going...
And we've already had someone come in on the rules, right? Asobi raised objections to the rules that we shouldn't be doing it, closest going over, and we're going to assess that next time we do this.
Yeah,
so
we can assess that for next year, but we already agreed to that for this year, so it is what it is. Ghost of Tsushima's director's cut, no point was awarded. We both guessed over. It was 84. We guessed 85 and 86, respectively. Psychonauts 2, Steve took the point. He voted a 65. I voted a 90. It was 89. I was off by 1 point.
Yeah, which I think was Asobi's objection in there. So you were off by 1, and I somehow won.
Price is Right rules. Yeah, I think we'll change that for next year. 12 minutes. It was Steve had 87. I had 75. And the actual score was 77. So I took that one. No More Heroes 3, Steve guessed 59, I guessed 70, the real was 75, so I got that point. Sonic Colors Ultimate, Steve guessed 72, and I guessed 75, the real answer was 69, so that's no point. Life is Strange True Colors, Steve guessed 75, I guessed 80, it came in at 82, so I got the point there. WarioWare, Steve guessed 80, I guessed 81, the real answer was 76, no point awarded. Deathloop, Steve guessed 85, I guessed 90, the answer was 88, another one where I was real close in the wrong direction, so Steve got the point there. Skatebird, no point was awarded, we guessed 60 and 65, it was 58. Kena Bridge of Spirits, Steve guessed 82, I guessed 85, it was 81, so again, no point awarded, off by 1 point off for Steve there.
It was.
Yeah. Diablo 2 Resurrected, Steve guessed 76, I guessed 80, and it was 82, so I got the point there. And then Death Stranding Director's Cut, Steve guessed 82, I guessed 83, the answer was 87. So, as it stands, I am in the lead with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points to Steve's 1, 2, 2 points.
That's it. 2 points.
So I'm up. I'm up hard right now. You got an uphill battle here. So let's see how we work. Let's see how this turned out. So Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania is the first one on our list. Steve guessed 82. I guessed 78. The real answer is, Steve?
77 says no point awarded.
7. Oh, that hurts. That hurts. Okay. It's another one off by 1 fucking point in the wrong direction. You hate it.
Now, I think you should get to Price is Right. Do you get a bonus if you get the price?
If you guess on the price, I think you might. I don't know how that works.
Yeah.
Though.
I feel like we should offer that. We should do double points. And I'm saying that because Far Cry 6, I guessed 75, you guessed 80. The score is 75.
Well, we're not going to do double points because we didn't agree on that before right now. So, if we want to talk about that for next year, that's cool. But point awarded to Steve on this one. So that's 6-3 now.
That is fair. Yeah.
Metroid Dread. I got to have this one. So you guessed 77. I guessed 85. It's got to be higher than 85.
It's 88.
Woo-hoo-hoo, baby! Look at you doubting your game of the year, Steve.
Do you know, I didn't think I was going to like Metroid.
It's funny.
What can I say? And I didn't think it was going to resonate with critics as much as it did. A 2D Metroid game scoring that high in 2021 is crazy.
All right,
yeah, I think it is my game of the year still.
7-3. Looking good. Looking good, gang. All right, back for blood. Steve said 76. I said 75. I'm going to guess you got this one.
76.
No way.
It's
oh
76.
my God, you guessed 2 on the dot?
Yeah, this is why I wanted double points.
Okay, so that's 7-4? Right? 7-4?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
7-4. All right, Mario Party Superstars. Steve guessed 79. I guessed 85.
Where do you reckon we landed on this one?
I don't know. I feel like you got this.
It's 79.
No, it's not.
It is.
You guessed that one too? Holy shit. Wow, you're on a roll here. All right. 7-5. You're making it a game, Steve. You're making it a game. All right. We've got Dark Pictures Anthology, House of Ashes. Steve said 65. I said 66. I'm going to guess I got this one.
You did. It's 73. We both guessed really low on this one. I don't think we were very fair on that.
I guessed 66 because we were doing Price is Right rules. Because I was like, it'll be higher than 65. I know that. I just don't know by how much. All right, 73. Okay, so I'm going to guess I got this one wrong. Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. You guessed 81. I guessed 78. I think you got this one.
Yeah, you think I got this one? It's 80. So I went 1 over.
Oh my God. Wow, we both did that like 4 times, 3 or 4 times each. That's wild.
Yeah.
Okay.
Really annoying.
So that means we're now, 9-4, right? We'll tally it up again at the end.
8-4.
Age of Empires 4. You guessed 82, I guessed 83.
Yeah. And I'm really fucking annoyed because it's 81. So neither of us get the point.
Okay. Shin Megami Tensei 5. You guessed 90. I guessed 85.
Yeah. It is 85.
All right. Double points for me.
Hang on. Yeah.
Okay. So then Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, 73 for Steve, 75 for Pete. I'm going to guess I got this one.
Nope, it's 74.
What? Holy shit. Okay, fuck. Wow.
So, slap bang in the middle of us two, which means I get it because the Price is Right rules.
So, final tally is Pete with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 points. Nope, sorry, 10 points. And Steve with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Not good.
Clinched
Not
it,
good
buddy.
at all.
Feels good. It feels good. Oh, man. Okay.
Cheated by some of these no pointers.
I got to say, I wasn't prepared for a victory speech. today. But I guess first of all, I want to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, of course. Just kidding. Well, Steve, we'll have to adjust the rules for next year. We'll see if we can play around with this a little bit. But I gotta say, for the first inaugural Metacritic prediction, 2021, it feels good to be the first champion. And I have a feeling.
We don't know what the prize is, though.
I was gonna say,
we didn't set prizes.
I'm gonna try to be a gracious loser as much as I've already fucked that up, because I have a feeling you're gonna beat me in our other predictions. So we're gonna have some kind of tiebreaker. So unless we tie in that one, in that case, I'm claiming victory for the year, I think.
We literally just agreed before this that they're separate and this is not the tiebreaker.
But if we tie in one and I win this one, then I've won predictions.
Right, okay. I feel like we need to go back and look at who predicted the wins in the events and things as well, because I'm sure we did some predictions for like a Nintendo Direct and stuff at some point. Who knows?
I don't know. I don't remember that, but you're probably right. So I think what we have to do next year is keep better track of these bets. We did good with the second and third sets if we did other ones, These ones we've been keeping up with all year, so that's been good. So thank you all for joining us here on this week's episode of the FlipScreen Games podcast. Thank you so much to Steve for competing with me and losing so that I might feel this glorious W. Because I'll tell you what, I needed it today. I needed it. So W's up for your boy Pete right now. Boom. We did it. We did it, gang. Steve's popping the L for himself. So thank you again to everybody who wrote in. Y'all are the best. Thank you to our Patreon producers and supporters. Thank you to everybody who tuned in and listened. If you guys want to write in for next week's show, please do, because it's the end of the year and we need some stuff to talk about. So write in. Hit us up with your better questions, the best one you got. And I'm going to issue the challenge to you, new listeners, people who've been listening for a long time and have never written in, write into the show. I want to hear from you, especially for next week. Like I said, it's the end of the year. There's no news. So give us something to talk about. It'll be great. So, hit us up with that. Head over to flipscreen.games, the website. We got links to the Patreon, the Twitch channel, the Discord, all that stuff. A dozen ways for you to come and engage with us, get some more content from us, come and hang out, chat with us, chat with other members of the community. It's a good time, and we hope you'll come be a part of it. So, for this week's episode of the FlipScreen Games podcast, I've been Pete. He's been Steve. We'll see you next week.